Every morning, as the first light of dawn breaks, you stand at a crossroads. You can pull the blanket over your head and let life continue in its familiar loop. Or you can step out of your comfort zone and start building a stronger version of yourself. Life doesn't roll out the red carpet for anyone. No one out there truly cares why you're tired or how many times you've fallen. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. What truly defines your worth is how you face challenges and how you choose to act. So why keep repeating these reminders to yourself every morning? Because it's the only way to stay clear-headed amid chaos, to hold on to discipline in the face of temptation, and to grow stronger day by day. Today, let's dive into 7 core principles that will help you take charge of your mornings and take charge of your life. 1. Don't blame your circumstances. Every person walking this earth carries a history. Some carry stories of loss, others the weight of regret, and many bear wounds invisible to the world. The truth is, everyone has failed, everyone has fallen short, and everyone has suffered in their own way. It's tempting to retreat into that familiar cave of self-pity, replaying old disappointments and cataloguing unfairness. We cling to the story that we are uniquely burdened, uniquely hurt, as if this could excuse us from moving forward or striving for something better. Yet if you pause and look around, you'll realize that everyone you meet is quietly fighting their own battles. The world is not waiting for your pain to subside before moving on. Life flows relentlessly and indifferently, carrying with it those who keep moving and leaving behind those who choose to sit in their sorrow. The harsh reality is that no one, not even those who love you, can truly feel or fix your pain for you. In the end, the responsibility to rise rests with you alone. The wisdom of the Stoics teaches us that blaming our circumstances is a sure path to weakness and stagnation. As Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is not just philosophical posturing, it is the cornerstone of freedom. Circumstances, by their nature, are fickle and often beyond our control. The only true power you possess is over your response, your attitude, and your actions in the face of adversity. Consider for a moment the story of Thomas, a young man who, after a devastating accident, lost the use of his legs. He could have easily allowed bitterness and resentment to dictate his life. Instead, he made a conscious choice each morning to treat his new reality not as a prison, but as a challenge to his creativity and resilience. Through endless hours of rehabilitation and the willingness to try, fail, and try again, he became an accomplished wheelchair athlete and motivational speaker, inspiring countless others who saw only impossibility in their own setbacks. His story is not one of a miracle, but of a deliberate refusal to blame his circumstances. Blaming circumstances is, in a way, giving up your power. It is telling the world and yourself that you are at the mercy of forces beyond your control. But this is a dangerous lie. The more you recite it, the weaker you become. You begin to believe that progress is impossible until your environment changes, or until your wounds heal, or until someone else steps in to fix things. But what if that day never comes? How much life will you waste waiting for conditions to be perfect? The solution, then, is simple, though not easy. You must accept what has happened, feel the pain fully, and then decide with clarity and strength to move forward anyway. The Stoics call this amor fati, the love of fate. It is the radical acceptance of your life, not as you wish it were, but as it is, with all its hardship and imperfection. It is choosing to see every struggle as a lesson, every setback as fuel for your growth. Of course, there will be days when this feels impossible. There will be mornings when the weight of your past presses so heavily on your chest that it seems you can hardly breathe, much less take action. But these are the very moments when you must remind yourself, no one is coming to rescue you. No external change will magically solve your problems. You are responsible for your next step, no matter how small. This is the first and most vital act of strength. Returning to Epictetus's insight, notice how he doesn't say you must be happy about your suffering or pretend that nothing hurts. Instead, he points you back to your own agency. You are always free to choose your reaction, to turn anger into discipline, to turn loss into wisdom, to turn pain into the raw material for something greater. In this choice lies everything. Do not blame your circumstances. Rise every morning to face them. Use your pain, your history, your failures as fuel, not as shackles. Remember, life will not slow down to match your pace. It is you who must gather yourself, steady your resolve, and move forward again and again until your story is no longer one of what happened to you, but of what you chose to become in spite of it. 2. The power of proactive thinking and self-discipline. You know the feeling. It's cold. The alarm goes off. Your mind invents every excuse to linger beneath the covers just a little longer. The weight of fatigue, the comfort of familiarity, the subtle voice telling you just 5 more minutes. It's all too easy to listen. But what if, in that moment, you chose differently? Imagine getting up, not for someone else, not because you have to, but because you refuse to let laziness have the final say. Each morning when you decide to rise early, to push yourself before the world has even woken up, you are investing in a future self that is stronger, sharper, and more resilient. Think about the compound effect of a single decision. Wake up an hour earlier each day, not to scroll your phone, but to work on your craft, to train your body, to feed your mind. At first, the difference seems invisible, but after a year, that single hour multiplied by 365 turns into hundreds of hours invested in growth. That's hundreds of pages read, workouts completed, problems solved, skills sharpened. Meanwhile, those who surrender to comfort each morning find themselves asking why nothing ever changes, why opportunity keeps slipping through their fingers. Here lies the hard truth. Every small act of laziness, every little excuse, every missed opportunity to act, it all accumulate. One skipped workout doesn't matter. One day of procrastination, no big deal. But these moments aren't isolated. They stack up. And soon, what began as a few harmless lapses morphs into a life of regret. The gap widens, not because you're less talented, but because you let comfort win, one decision at a time. Success isn't reserved for those who are the most gifted, or the luckiest, or the best connected. It belongs to those who are the most disciplined with themselves. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about building the courage to act, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the core of proactive thinking, seeing beyond your current emotions and choosing the action that serves your future, not just your present comfort. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus, a former slave who became a great philosopher, once wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This statement strikes at the heart of the matter. Freedom, as the Stoics saw it, isn't about having no obstacles or doing whatever you want. It's about commanding your own mind, refusing to be a slave to your impulses, emotions, or excuses. When you master yourself, your habits, your reactions, your choices, you become truly free no matter what circumstances you face. Let's be honest, proactive thinking is hard because it means confronting the voice inside that says wait, later, or it's too hard. That voice is powerful and it never really goes away. But each time you act anyway, each time you override it, you grow stronger. You transform hesitation into confidence and fear into fuel. Over time, the habit of action becomes your new comfort zone. But self-discipline isn't about punishing yourself or living without joy. It's about aligning your actions with your purpose, about showing up for yourself every day, even when no one else is watching. It's about doing the difficult thing now so that your future self thanks you, not resents you. True discipline is an act of self-respect, a declaration that you are worthy of the effort it takes to build the life you want. When you live proactively, you stop waiting for perfect conditions or bursts of inspiration. You create your own momentum. The morning becomes your sanctuary, a place where you shape your character, one decision at a time. As you continue this path, you notice that the external world no longer dictates your mood or your progress. Instead, you become anchored by your own principles, steady, grounded, and ready for whatever life throws at you. So, tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off, remember, that moment is a crossroads. It's not just another day. It's the daily battle between the part of you that seeks comfort and the part of you that craves greatness. Choose to act. Choose to win, if only for today. And then repeat. The power of your life lies not in grand gestures, but in these small, deliberate acts of self-discipline that, over time, transform everything. Because in the end, it's not the big wins that separate you from the rest. It's the quiet victories, the early mornings, the hours no one else sees. Those are the moments that define you. The Stoics taught that mastery over self is the path to true freedom and power. Make that your practice, starting now. And as you build this foundation of proactive thinking and self-discipline, remember, there's another piece to the puzzle, one that most people overlook: humility. In our next segment, you'll discover why true growth isn't just about pushing harder, but about knowing your limits, learning from every failure, and embracing the power of humility. Stay with me. The next lesson might just change the way you see yourself forever. 3. Humility is the key to growth. There is a subtle danger in believing that we are owed the rewards of life simply because we desire them. It is easy, almost effortless, to slip into a mindset where we feel entitled to comfort, recognition, or progress without first enduring the humble beginnings and the unnoticed effort that true growth demands. This attitude, quietly arrogant and sometimes hidden even from ourselves, doesn't just slow our growth, it can quietly sabotage it, leaving us stagnant while we wonder why nothing seems to change. When people think of progress, they often imagine giant leaps, major breakthroughs, or dramatic transformations. But in reality, growth is almost always built on a quiet foundation of humility, the willingness to start small, to do the necessary but unglamorous work, and to serve others without complaint or expectation. True humility isn't about thinking less of ourselves, it is about thinking of ourselves less. It is the courage to sweep the floor when no one is watching, to make the coffee, to carry the heavy boxes, or to begin again after failure. It is the discipline to learn from everyone and everything, no matter how lowly or ordinary the lesson may seem. The greatest obstacle to this kind of humility is pride, the sneaky voice that whispers, "This task is beneath you. You deserve more. Why should you try when others do not?" Pride loves to dress itself up as self-respect, but in truth, it is fear of seeming small, fear of being overlooked, fear of having to start at the bottom. And yet, every truly successful and resilient person knows that humility is not weakness. It is the soil in which all real growth begins. The wisdom of the Stoics illuminates this truth with piercing clarity. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors, unless with a view to some mutual benefit." This is a call to look inward, to tend to our own duties, no matter how humble, and to let go of comparing ourselves to others or demanding recognition. When we stop worrying about how we appear or what we are owed, and instead focus on serving, learning, and improving, we tap into a source of strength that pride can never reach. To understand humility in action, consider the story of Master Sergeant William Crawford. Here was a man who was awarded one of his country's highest honors for bravery in battle, a hero by any measure. And yet, after his time in service, he lived not as a celebrity or a figurehead, but as a janitor at a small school. Day after day, he quietly went about his work, sweeping floors, mopping hallways, emptying trash cans. For years, many of those around him had no idea of his past accomplishments. He never brought it up. He never demanded special treatment. Instead, he devoted himself to the simple service of those around him, teaching by quiet example that real strength is found in humility, in the willingness to serve. What is most powerful about this story is not just the heroism of Crawford's past, but the grace and purpose with which he lived every day after. He showed that there is dignity in every role, and that true greatness is measured not by titles or honors, but by how willingly we serve, how deeply we learn, and how patiently we persist, especially when the work is hard, unseen, or uncelebrated. This is the solution to the problem of stalled growth and quiet frustration. To cultivate humility, not as a performance, but as a daily practice. Start by embracing the small tasks that others overlook. Refuse to complain about where you are. Do not let pride trick you into believing that you are above the work that needs to be done. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I serve here now with what I have? Let yourself be a beginner. Let yourself fail, learn, and try again. Measure yourself not by how quickly you advance, but by how much you are willing to serve and grow, no matter where you start. When you embrace humility, you open the door to real progress. You become teachable, adaptable, and resilient. You stop waiting for the world to reward you, and you start creating value with every action, no matter how small. Over time, these humble efforts accumulate and compound, leading to growth that is steady, strong, and sustainable. So force yourself to listen to this truth every morning. Humility is not a sign of weakness or defeat. It is the secret engine of all meaningful growth. Only when you are willing to do what others avoid, to begin again without complaint, and to serve without expectation, will you truly rise above your circumstances and discover your real strength. 4. Don't wait for others to save you. Every morning you wake up feeling like the whole world is pressing down on your chest. Work pressure waits for you at the office. Unpaid bills pile up on the table. Your children or loved ones need your care, and you yourself are exhausted, running on empty. You lie there, hoping someone will notice your exhaustion, maybe send you a message, or reach out with a helping hand just in time. But day after day, no one shows up. All around you is silence, while inside, a deep sense of helplessness rises. You start to feel left behind, lost in your own life, and the longer you wait for rescue, the deeper you sink into despair. You may have grown up being told to ask for help, or that it's okay to rely on others when life gets hard. And yes, connection matters. But here's the problem. Too many people turn waiting into a habit, a passive hope that if they just endure a little longer, things will get better by themselves, or someone will do the hard work for them. Stoic philosophy cuts through this illusion. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic thinker, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He meant that the very obstacles you face, the lack of support, the silence of those around you, the absence of easy solutions, are not excuses to stay stuck. They are invitations to grow stronger. Why do we crave rescue? On a biological level, it's natural to look for reassurance and approval. Your brain is wired to seek belonging. Social validation gives a quick hit of dopamine, a flash of motivation when someone praises you or acknowledges your efforts. But that kind of encouragement is fleeting. As research in psychology shows, external praise quickly fades, leaving you hungrier for more, dependent on others to feel worthy. Worse, if that praise never arrives, self-doubt takes root and grows. There is a different way. It's the harder road, but the only one that leads to lasting change. Become your own supporter. Every day, you have a choice. You can wait for someone else to tell you that you're enough, or you can stand up, look yourself in the eye, and decide that you matter. That your progress, no matter how small, is real. This is not about arrogance or pretending everything is perfect. It's about cultivating an inner dialogue that fuels your courage, discipline, and resilience, especially when no one else is watching. Science backs this up. Studies on self-affirmation and self-motivation reveal that people who regularly recognize their own achievements, however minor, are more persistent, adapt better to setbacks, and recover faster from disappointment. They are not immune to pain or failure. They simply refuse to give up their agency. Instead of letting negative self-talk spiral, they interrupt it with a new narrative. I am making progress. I am moving forward. I will not let setbacks define me. Imagine this. Each morning, before the noise of the world floods in, you stand in front of the mirror. Maybe you feel tired, overwhelmed, or even a little hopeless. But you straighten your back, put your hand on your heart, and say out loud if you can, I am capable. I am improving. At first, it may feel strange, even fake. But with repetition, this ritual becomes your shield. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. By consciously practicing self-encouragement, you literally rewire your brain's pathways, making self-belief more automatic, less dependent on what others say or do. It's important to be honest with yourself about your progress and your setbacks. If you fall short, acknowledge it without harsh judgment. Instead of beating yourself up, ask, what can I learn? How can I do better tomorrow? Remember, growth is never a straight line. It is a messy, unpredictable journey, and waiting for someone to hand you the map is just another form of procrastination. So don't wait for rescue. Become the person you wish would walk through that door for you. Each morning, claim your power. Encourage yourself, even when the world is silent. This isn't just self-help, it's survival. And it's the only reliable path to freedom. If you've ever felt the urge to wait for someone else to save you, share your thoughts or your own story below. How have you learned to encourage yourself, and what difference has it made? Let's inspire each other. 5. Start small and take action consistently. So many people wake up each day feeling trapped under the weight of their own expectations. The urge to make a massive change, to flip life upside down overnight, is strong. Yet that need for instant transformation is exactly what paralyzes us. We stare at the big mountain and forget that the climb starts with one single, small step. The truth: success never comes from grand gestures or explosive one-off efforts. It's born from the stubborn, almost boring discipline of doing the small things right, again and again. Especially on the days you don't feel like it. It's easy to dismiss small actions. What's the point of reading just one page of a book? How does tidying a single corner of your desk matter? Why bother listing 3 simple tasks in the morning? But these tiny habits are the real power moves. They are the invisible bricks that build the fortress of your future. Epictetus once said, "Nothing great is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig." If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Read that again. Let it sink in. The Stoics understood what most of us forget in the chaos of daily life. All growth is gradual. All change is earned, piece by piece, day by day. That's not just ancient wisdom. It's a brutal, beautiful reality. Let's get real. Maybe you're tired of feeling stuck. Maybe you've tried to change before, made a bold declaration to the world. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. every day. Or, I'll run a marathon this year, only to lose steam after a week. It's not your willpower that failed you. It's the strategy. You aimed for the summit before you built the muscle for the first step. Consider this. There are people out there who turned their whole lives around just by doing one small thing every single day for a year. Take the story of David, for example. For years, he felt lost, days blending together, nothing accomplished, dreams gathering dust. But he made one simple change. Every morning he wrote down 3 things he needed to do that day. Not 10, not 50, just 3. And he forced himself to finish them, no matter what. Some days, those 3 things felt almost embarrassingly small. But after a year, he looked back and saw a different person in the mirror. Someone who finished projects, kept promises, and learned to trust himself again. You want to change? Start small. Do it consistently. That's not weakness, that's strategy. That's how you win. Here's the brutal part. Most days, you won't see results. You'll question if your effort matters. But that's exactly when you need to push forward. Progress hides in repetition. The act of showing up for yourself, especially when nobody is watching, is where character is forged. So, what does this look like for you? Maybe it's setting your alarm 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it's making your bed. Maybe it's walking around the block or reading one page of a book. Don't underestimate these actions. They compound. They teach your mind, I can do this. I keep my word. And that over time is how you rebuild your self-respect and momentum. Now I want to hear from you. What's one small habit you're willing to commit to starting today? Drop it in the comments. Inspire someone else. Hold yourself accountable. And remember, the journey is built, not wished for. Start now. 6. Accept inequality. Life is not fair, and it never will be. No matter how loud we protest or how desperately we crave justice, inequality is woven into the fabric of existence. Some people are born into privilege, while others inherit nothing but adversity. Some move through life with barely a struggle, while others seem to fight just to breathe. The world gives to each person with a reckless, unpredictable hand. And for many, that single truth can be a source of bitterness and resentment. But what if you could see it differently? Here's the uncomfortable reality. The world owes you nothing. Misfortune does not ask for your permission. Pain does not discriminate. And yet, how you choose to respond to this is entirely up to you. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't shy away from the harshness of life. Instead, they embraced it. Inequality to them was not an excuse to complain, but an invitation to build strength from within. What blocks your path is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Inequality, injustice, setbacks, these are not simply obstacles. They are opportunities. They are the weights that forge your resilience and character. Imagine two people at the starting line of life. One is handed every advantage, wealth, support, and education. The other, nothing but obstacles, poverty, illness, maybe even rejection from the start. Logic says the first will run faster and farther. But the world is full of stories that defy logic. History, business, and even sports are crowded with those who started at the very bottom, yet rose to unimaginable heights. Why? Because when you have nothing, you learn to fight for every inch. Every challenge is a chance to prove, to yourself above all, what you are capable of. Adversity builds a fire that comfort never can. Research published in Nature Mental Health, 2024, titled "The Influence of Early Life Adversity on the Coupling of Structural and Functional Brain Connectivity Across Childhood," demonstrates that children who face adversity early in life show distinct changes in brain structure and function. The study found that these challenges can actually strengthen the connection between different regions of the brain, promoting adaptability and resilience in the face of future stress. Rather than breaking them, moderate adversity often forces individuals to develop mental flexibility and problem-solving skills that serve them throughout life. In essence, those who endure and actively confront difficulties in childhood may emerge with a greater capacity for strength, growth, and psychological resilience. But here's the catch. The growth only happens if you accept the reality of inequality instead of fighting against it. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" you take back your power. You shift your energy from resentment to responsibility, from complaining to action. This doesn't mean you should ignore injustice or stop caring about a fairer world. But on a personal level, the Stoic approach is to focus on what you can control. your response, your attitude, your effort. The gap between you and others is not an excuse. It's your proving ground. So next time you feel left behind, underestimated, or treated unfairly, remember that the universe is not keeping score. You can choose to see your disadvantages as the very tools that will sharpen you. The obstacle is the way. What seems unfair is actually your invitation to rise. And that brings us to the final and perhaps most important lesson in this journey. Are you ready to step up and take full responsibility for your life? Stay tuned for the final message, where we'll explore how embracing radical responsibility can transform not just your mornings, but your entire existence. 7. Learn to take responsibility. It's easy to blame the world. When life feels heavy and nothing seems to go your way, the mind reaches for excuses. If only my boss understood me. If my family supported me. If the world were fair, I'd be further ahead. We tell ourselves these stories because they numb the sting of failure. They let us escape the pain of responsibility. But here's the truth. Blame is a prison. Every time you point your finger outward, you hand over your power. You become a passenger in your own life, letting circumstances, people, and your past dictate your future. This is where everything changes. The moment you choose to stop blaming and start owning your choices, your reactions, your path, you reclaim the driver's seat. You can't control the weather, but you can choose if you'll step outside and face the storm. You can't rewrite your childhood, but you can decide what you'll do with your time, your energy, your heart today. This is the core of responsibility, recognizing that while you can't change the world, you can always change yourself. The ancient Stoics saw this clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let those words sink in. Real strength is not about dominating others or never falling down. It's about mastering yourself. It's about seeing your own habits, good and bad, and choosing to act with clarity, not with excuses. You can't choose the hand you're dealt, but you can play it with discipline, intention, and courage. Blame is a dead end. The world will always give you reasons to feel powerless, unfair bosses, changing economies, and painful memories. But focusing on what you can't control only deepens your frustration and keeps you stuck. Taking responsibility is not about denying hardship. It's about refusing to let hardship write your story for you. Take the story of Tomasz, an engineer from Poland who moved to the USA hoping to build a better life. His first job search dragged on for months. Language barriers, rejection emails, and cultural misunderstandings nearly breaking his spirit. It would have been easy to blame the job market or the system, but Tomasz looked inward. He improved his language skills, sought honest feedback, and adapted his resume to fit the local expectations. Slowly, doors began to open. When he finally landed a great job, it wasn't luck. It was his willingness to take responsibility for every step of his journey. When you choose to take responsibility, everything shifts. Suddenly, the energy you spent complaining is freed up for action. The frustration you aimed at others becomes fuel for self-improvement. Each day you ask better questions. What can I do differently? What's within my control? How can I turn this setback into a lesson? This is how you turn pain into progress. This is how you move from victim to creator. Stoicism is not a philosophy of passivity or cold detachment. It's about facing reality with open eyes and an honest heart. It's about accepting what you can't change, but fiercely owning what you can, your actions, your attitude, your next step. Responsibility is not a burden. It's your superpower. It's what gives you the right to shape your destiny, no matter where you start. Stop waiting for life to be fair. Stop waiting for others to rescue you. Start with what you have. Start with where you are. Own your story and watch how much stronger you become. Taking responsibility isn't easy, but it's the foundation for real change and lasting strength. We've talked about why blaming others or your past keeps you stuck, and how owning your choices, right or wrong, gives you the power to shape your own future. You control your actions, your mindset, and your response to any challenge. Through real stories and Stoic wisdom, you've seen how transformation begins the moment you stop making excuses and start taking charge. Now, I want to hear from you. How much do you agree with the idea that taking responsibility can change your life? 1. Strongly disagree. 2. Disagree. 3. Neutral. 4. Agree. 5. Strongly agree. Let us know your answer in the comments below. If you found value in this message, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on building a stronger mind and life. Wishing you clarity, courage, and a powerful day ahead.